speeches under 4 minutes, because
half an hour.
people are likely to lose out on this and have their own contributions cut down. It's not fair to colleagues, and I call Rona Mackay to be followed by Daniel Johnson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'd like to thank Gillian Martin for bringing this important debate to the Chamber today and for all the work she's done on this subject. As we've heard from speeches across the Chamber, young people today are under so much more pressure than my generation was growing up. My childhood was spent playing, going to school, watching TV or swimming. In my teens, I spent endless hours on the phone to my best friend, much to my mum and dad's frustration, as she only lived next door. Of course, there were no mobile phones, internet, Facebook, Instagram or Snapchat, and life was simpler of that, I have no doubt. Our parents told us not to talk to strangers, and that was the extent of the personal safety messages that we got. Home for most of us was a safe, secure place where what happened in the playground with friends stayed in the playground. Now young people are contactable 24 hours a day, and despite our best efforts, this is largely their world, their relationship with cyberspace in their own virtual reality. It's estimated that 69% of 12 to 15-year-olds owns a smartphone, and at 16 that percentage jumps to 90%. This much access to photo and video sharing technology, combined with hormones and curiosity, has created the perfect storm for sexual imagery and cyberbullying. Studies have found that the majority of teenagers think that sexting is normal and harmless. This is shocking and scary. Without intervention and education, the teenagers who are storing and sharing this content begin to view others as sexual objects. Over time, psychologists have seen that these thoughts lead to a lack of empathy, an increase in anger and an increase in sexually aggressive crimes. Unfortunately, we're already seeing this, as Gillian mentioned in her motion. In 4 years, the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service has seen cases of a child committing a sexual crime against another child rise by a troubling 34%. For the young people who send sexual images, our objective is not to shame them for their decisions. Our goal is to understand the driving motivation behind their behaviour, because remember, we created the world that they are living in. Social scientists have found that many young people share explicit materials of themselves in the search for social validation and acceptance from their peers, as Ruth Maguire outlined. However, receiving a negative response can have catastrophic consequences. The NHS has reported that cyberbullying increases the risk of suicide by 30%. So what can be done about this? First, we must accept that resilience doesn't mean simply telling children to avoid this behaviour, because that won't work. While children, parents and teachers need to be aware of the ramifications of these choices, we must remember that resilience is built by the way we respond to opposition and difficulty. We have a responsibility to provide young people with resources that teach them healthy ways to manage their sexuality and self-esteem. There are an increasing number of resources that can help. We've heard about them today. The Young Scot initiative, Digi, the International Justice Mission do good work, the Scottish Government Cyber Resilience Programme, and they're all helpful to try and stem this. On Internet Safety Day, I urge social media sites to take more responsibility by tightening up their security rules and practice. In my view, it's their moral responsibility to do so. Presiding Officer, this is a difficult issue to resolve, but resolve it we must. It's impossible to predict exactly what will help every child in Scotland, but we must take action. Even taking action on behalf of the well-being of one child is worth taking. The children of Scotland deserve to have wonderful lives, and by making sure they are cyber resilient, we can help them stay safe in this world that we, as adults, have created. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Johnson.